Morning, Christ Temple Family Church. Oh, how are we doing? Oh man, the fact that we're here is not by luck. See, a lot of people like to say luck, that they're lucky, but it's really God's grace getting them through. The fact that we're here right now is not by pure luck. The fact that we were able to survive some of the things we survived was not pure luck. It's because of God's grace. Because last year, this was not happening. A lot of people didn't make it this year, but the fact that, like Brother Darrell said, the fact that we're able to assemble right now, God's grace. And it's good to have the church doors open. And for those tuning in right now, I don't know which camera, but thank you for tuning in, taking time out your everybody in the sanctuary. Thank you all for coming. I was going to say tuning in. I'm so used to saying that, but some of y'all are probably still tuned in online right now, even though you're in the church house. But that's cool. That communication and relationship is still the same, because if we think about it, we're all excited to be in God's house this morning. And when we think about it on a deeper level, is that COVID really changed the game. It really changed the way we do church now. It changed the way we worship. It changed the way we bring the word. It changed the way we participate in church. It changed the game. And the thing is, I heard somebody say the message of church didn't change, just the methods. And in order for, and I feel like this is a new beginning. Am I the only one? I feel like we are at a new beginning right now. And in order to survive this new beginning, it's going to take for us to level up. In order for us to thrive in this new COVID era, because COVID is still here, but the thing is, things are calmed down a little bit. People feel more comfortable coming out, and things have changed. And we need to adapt so we can survive this new era of doing things. Somebody say level up. On the chat, type level up. The theme for this series, because when God dropped this series in my heart, I felt strong about it, because I felt like that's what we need to do right now. Not just as a church, but individually. Like, I don't want us to just level up as a church. I want each and every one tuned in right now, each and every one in the sanctuary right now, to level up in their personal lives, whether their faith. I want you to level up in your faith. I want you to level up in your finances, level up in your relationship with God, level up with your relationship with people. Some of us really need to do that, is love God and love people too. Level up in your relationship with people, level up in your finances, your career, your purpose, your calling, as a father, as a husband, as a brother, as a sister. Level up. We need to level up out here so we can thrive in this new beginning. This month is all about progressing to the next level. Feel good when Bishop said, "You want the whole month of June?" I said, "I can take it." I can take it. I didn't know what I was going to preach about, but then this series of Level Up hit my spirit, and I'm thankful for this opportunity to be able to present y'all this message. And one way I really want to say this, it's a challenge this month. One way I want us to level up spiritually this month is to take notes. Take notes during the sermon. Just try it and just see how it changes, how you receive everything and how you retain the information, things you can go back and look over. And when you take your notes, upload it to social media and tag me, Cornell Nichols, tag the church. And you can share your notes. You never know, somebody might come across what you took notes in and it changed their life. You never know. And then it may have them run into, let me see what's happening at CTFC real quick, because these notes you took are pretty good. They must be preaching some good stuff. So I have 4 sermons hot and ready to serve y'all this month. Little Caesars hot and ready pieces got nothing on me. Them Little Caesars hot and ready pieces, $5 and some change. Pastor Nick's hot and ready sermons, priceless. So be sure to come on out this month, all right? And if you feel comfortable coming out to the sanctuary, we do got some people in here. Feel free to come on out. We still social distancing. We still wearing our masks. We still doing what we supposed to do, all right? Well, if you want to tune in your bed, I'm not complaining about that either. But this week 1 of this Level Up series is coming from the book of Mark. The book of Mark. Chapter 5, and I'll be reading verses 25 through 34 from the NIV. Mark 5, 25 through 34. And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. It's a very well-known story. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and had spent all she had. Yet, instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, someone say heard. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak. Because she thought, someone say thought, because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. Immediately her bleeding stopped and she felt in her body that she was freed from her suffering. At once Jesus realized that power had gone out from him. He turned around in the crowd and asked, who touched my clothes? He didn't say, who stepped on my shoes? Who touched my clothes? You see the people crowding against you, Jesus, his disciple answered, yet you can ask, who touched me? But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then a woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell at his feet, trembling with fear, and told him the truth. He said to her, daughter, your faith has made you has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering. And today's message, part 1 of this Level Up series, today's message is titled, Faith on a New Level. Faith on a new level, taking our faith to the next level, because some of us have been in church for so long and our faith is still on the same level. So how can you, like the church should be like a gym. You should go here to grow. You should go here to grow. And that's like going to the gym for 10 plus lifting the same weight. Add some more to that. You can't be in a gym for 10 plus years and still got the same amount of muscle. I should see some more muscle. I should see some growth. And that's what it is. I feel like when it comes to church, a lot of us have been in church for so long, yet our faith is still the same. Baby faith. This woman had faith on a new level because she was bleeding for 12 years. Bleeding for 12 years, and it wasn't just dripping. Like the King James Version says, she had a flow of blood. So she had a flow of blood, she was bleeding, and there was nothing she can do about it. She exhausted all her resources. She tried everything, and yet she was still bleeding in a certain area in her life. And no matter how hard she tried to get the bleeding to stop, she kept on bleeding. And I want to ask you, how many of us are bleeding metaphorically, not physically, in certain areas in our life? And no matter how hard you try to get that area fixed, it keeps on bleeding. You tried everything and it keeps on bleeding. You gave that marriage everything and that marriage kept on bleeding. You went to all the counseling sessions, yet your confidence kept on bleeding. You went to all the financial seminars, yet your finances kept on bleeding. How many of you tried so hard to fix certain areas in your life, yet you kept on bleeding? This woman kept on bleeding in a certain area and she tried to get it fixed. She had the effort. She went to the professionals. And yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. Don't you hate that when you try to fix something and instead of getting better, it gets worse? Like that happened. I remember the first time I had to change my brake light. And I really tried. And I really tried to fix it. And I wasn't fixing it at all. I was just breaking everything. And I was like, I thought I was getting better. I thought I was doing a good job, followed the YouTube instructions. But then I looked at it. I had cracks in places that I said, okay, I'm breaking this thing. I need to take it to the dealership because this is messing me up. But she kept on bleeding in a certain area in her life, and no matter how hard she tried to fix it, it wasn't happening. But she had that faith on a new level. Her faith was at a level to recognize that although the doctors might fail her, Jesus won't. Her faith was at a level recognizing that man will let you down, but Jesus won't. And how many of us have that type of faith that no matter what's going on, no matter what society says, no matter what culture says, they might write you off, but Jesus won't write you off. She had the confidence, she had the faith, and her faith was not dependent on man. Her faith was dependent on God. Her faith was anchored in God and not man. What is your faith anchored in? Is it anchored in your money? You know, you have faith as long as your money, right? All right. Is it anchored in money? Is it anchored in your spouse? Is it anchored in your children? Is it anchored in sports? What is in your purpose, in your calling? What is your faith anchored in? But the thing is, all that stuff can fail you. All that stuff will let you down from time to time, but Jesus won't. She had that next level faith to recognize that I know the doctors can't heal me. I know what they said. I can't get better. It's keep getting worse. But I heard about this man named Jesus. And I'm going to give this man a try. She did all she could, but she was living a very uncomfortable life. It doesn't say she was living an uncomfortable life, but I can only imagine she was living a very uncomfortable life, bleeding for 12 years, a flow of blood. And history tells us that back then, she was considered unclean because she was bleeding like that. So she was unclean. She couldn't touch people. That's uncomfortable. And people couldn't touch her. So she went 12 years without physical touch, without the touch of a human. Some of us couldn't even last 14 days in quarantine without the physical touch of someone. So I can only imagine she was living a very uncomfortable life, that nobody could touch her. I mean, society and culture wrote her off because she was unclean. And here's the thing. She was thrown away pretty much in society. Nobody wanted to mess with her. Nobody wanted to rock with her. But that didn't stop her from having faith in Jesus, because her faith was anchored in God and not man. So I want to talk to some people. How many of us felt like there are some times in your life and you've been dealing with situations and you've been written off by people? You've been written off by family. You've been written off by friends. But I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. Because although they might write you off, Jesus won't. Although they may not mess with you, but Jesus will mess with you. And so that's what I'm talking about, little man. But although they might write you off, Jesus won't write you off. This woman was struggling with in the situation in her life, and it made her. She was thrown. Nobody wanted to rock with her because of the situation she was dealing with, because of the situation that she couldn't get healed. Her struggles caused her to be thrown away in society. Her struggle. And if you're struggling with something right now and you feel like you've been thrown away, just know that Jesus will handle that struggle. Your struggle does not exempt you from experiencing the power of God. Your struggle will not exempt you. You can struggle and still experience power with God, no matter what you're struggling with, no matter what has been brought to you, the fact how your life is. If you're an addict, you can still experience the power of God. If you're an alcoholic, you can still experience the power of God. No matter what you're struggling with lifestyle choices. If you're struggling with being an alcoholic, no matter if you're struggling with sin, that doesn't exempt you from experiencing the power of God. This woman recognized that although I'm struggling with this issue of the power of Jesus, if I can only touch his clothes, I will be healed. Struggling with an addiction and still experiencing God. Because it's not all about perfection when it comes to Jesus. It's not about perfection. I said it before. It's not about perfection. It's about obedience. But it's not about perfection because Jesus sat with sinners. Remember, this is the same Jesus that ate dinner with sinners and tax collectors. And when the Pharisees asked Jesus' disciples, why does he eat with the tax collectors and sinners? Jesus said to them, it's not the healthy who need a doctor, but it's the sick. And this woman was clearly sick, but people wasn't messing with her. But Jesus, like, I don't care if you're sick, I will still rock with you. So I want us to take a second, just think about some of the people that ring you off. Think about your haters and just say to your haters mentally that although you stopped messing with me, Jesus still messing with me. Although you not effing with me, Jesus still rocking with me. Although you not in my circle, I might not be your cup of tea, but I'm Jesus' cup of tea because he will still rock with me no matter what's going on in my life, no matter what. And when she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in a crowd, touched his cloak, because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. When she heard about Jesus, she was able to experience the power of Jesus because of what she heard. Even back then, word of mouth is still the best form of marketing. Because of what she heard, it had her running to Jesus because of what she heard. Word of mouth is the most. I saw a study. They say word of mouth. 86% of consumers said that word of mouth is the most trusted form of marketing. And that's true. Like, think about it. When that Popeye's chicken sandwich came out, it was word of mouth. No matter if you saw the commercials or not, but if you see people in your inner circle like, man, that's some good stuff. You're like, oh, let me try that thing one time. Word of mouth is still the trusted form of marketing. And because of what she heard, it had her running to experience the power of Jesus because of what she heard. And that's why no matter what you're going through, always continue to preach to yourself. Always continue to preach to others. Share your testimony. Don't be ashamed to tell your testimony. Don't be ashamed to keep preaching, to keep teaching, to keep ministering, because you never know. Somebody might hear what you have to say, and it might have them running to Jesus because of what they heard you say, what they heard Nick say, what they heard Flo say, what they heard Bishop say, what they heard Monica say, what they heard. It'll have them running to Jesus because of what they heard, because word of mouth is still the most trusted form of marketing. So I encourage you all watching right now, I encourage you all in this building right now to keep on spreading the word of Jesus. Because you never know who might be healed because of what they heard you say. Because it's different. You could easily read the Bible and read all the miracles and read all the parables and see Jesus in work, but it's nothing like hearing people in your inner circle talking about their experiencing with God. Because it's just a relatable thing. Like some people, I can't relate to this one with issue, but you can relate to seeing a friend struggle with something and they come through from it. You can see when you hear your friend talk about that or hear your family member talk about that, it's going to have you, okay, this God stuff is real. Because you can read all you want, but to hear people around you talking about Jesus, that's a whole new ball game. Because of what you heard. And because of what she heard, she ran up to touch God's clothes, to touch Jesus's cloak. And she thought to herself, if I touch his clothes, I'll be healed. She thought to herself. Some translation says she said to herself. So did she think it or did she say it? But I believe she did both. She thought it, she said it, and she acted on it. Thought, she said it, and she acted on it. What? Thought, said, act. Thought, said, act. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. The power of a thought. So she first thought, if I touch his clothes, I'll be healed. Then she said to herself, if I touch touch his clothes, I'll be healed. And then she acted on it. It's the power of a thought. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So that's why we have to be mindful of what we're thinking about ourselves. Because in certain situations, if you think you can get through it and you start telling yourself you can't get through it, there's a good chance you're not going to live in a life that think you're going to do it. You're not going to act on it. If you think of yourself as a grasshopper in the midst of giants and say to yourself you're a grasshopper in the midst, you're going to act like a grasshopper. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. She thought belief. She spoke belief. And she acted in belief. She thought next level faith. She spoke next level faith. And she acted out of next level faith. So how many of us, we need to really encourage, I can say it again, she thought next level faith, she spoke next level faith, and she acted on next level faith, because you're going to act how you think. So if you think of yourself as a king, you're going to speak like a king, you're going to act like a king. You think of yourself as a queen, you're going to speak like a queen, you're going to act like a queen, because how you feel about this is just me, right? Because the way you think about yourself is the type of behavior you're going to accept from other people. So if you think of yourself as no one, you're going to start accepting behavior that disrespectful behavior. So if you think highly of yourself and you speak highly of yourself, people are going to treat you highly because you know what to expect. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. She thought, she said, she acted. Thought, said, acted. She thought it. She spoke. The power of a thought. Next level faith will require you to don't let the outside voices become louder than your inner voice. Don't let the outside voices become louder than the inner voice you're speaking to yourself. Because we're always speaking to ourselves, but when you start letting outside voices become louder, now you start thinking on what the outside voice is saying. So if she let the outside voices become louder than her inner voice, she never would have ran to Jesus. Because the outside voices was calling her unclean. The outside voice was saying she couldn't be healed. But the inside voice was saying, if I could only touch the hem of his garment, I will be healed. That's her inner voice. So how's your inner voice? Is your inner voice louder than the outside voices? And to all the kids watchers, I know when it comes to the peer pressure, when you get to high school, when you get to college, to all the youth watching, you have to be mindful not to let your inner voice become louder than the outside voices. Because here's the thing, you think your inner voice is louder than the outside voices. That's all good under your parents' house. But once you enter the real world, once you leave your parents' house, once you leave mama's nest, now you start seeing that the outside voices are pretty loud. Outside voices on social media, outside voices in different fraternities and different sororities, outside voices in cliques, all that can become louder than your inner voice. And now you acting in a way thinking like, how did I get like this? Why am I acting like this? It's because it's the outside voices thinking for you and not the inner voice. Next level faith will require you to not let the outside voices be louder than your inner voice. She thought it, she said it, and she acted on it. And all this happened, this entire miracle happened while Jesus was on his way to perform another miracle. All this happened when Jesus was on his way to Jairus' house, a synagogue leader who came to Jesus and said, hey, my daughter is sick. So Jesus is on his way to heal a little girl. And in the midst of him walking to heal, it was a crowd of people. And then this happened. This woman touched him. And I thought about that. And I thought about how if that was me, if I talked to Jesus and wanted Jesus to hurry up and come heal my daughter, and then I see someone distract them, I'm going to get upset. Come on, hey, wait a second, lady. Let him fix my situation. And then he can fix your situation. But when you have next level faith, you will see that there's enough blessings for everybody. There's enough blessings for everyone. You do not have to envy other people's healing. You don't have to envy other people's success. You don't have to envy. People think God is finite. People think God is limited. And that, oh, if he bless you too much, he won't be able to bless me. And and people really get upset when that's how I feel when people hate on other people's blessings. You feel like God can't do it for you. And so when you think about the lady with the issue of blood, Jairus could have easily said, hey, lady, like, I feel like you just drew some power out of Jesus. Jesus needs all his power to fix my situation, and that's false. Because Jesus was still able to heal the daughter. Yeah. Even though the woman with the issue of blood drew power out of him. Yeah. He still had enough power to heal the little girl. Yeah. Jesus still has enough power to fix your situation. Yeah. Even though, so a lot of times we can get so upset when we feel like God is not fixing our situation. He's too busy fixing other people's situation. And it's hard for you to root for other people's success, root for other people's blessings, because you feel like, I'm not being blessed right now. Yeah. But I'm here to tell you, Jesus is on his way. Yeah. Jesus was still on his way. Yeah. If you think about it, Jesus was still on his way to the little girl. Yeah. He was still moving. He was still coming. He just healed another woman. But that didn't stop him. He didn't be like, okay, that's enough for now. I'll try again tomorrow. No, he was still on his way. Jesus is still on his way. Jesus can still approach you, come into your situation that you're struggling with. Jesus can still do that even though you see your friends getting healed, your family getting healed. You see doors opening for them and you like, where's my door that's opening? I've been praying. Yeah. I've been coming to church. Yeah. I've been fasting. Yeah. I've been nice to people. Yeah. Let's be honest. A lot of times when we want God to do something, we start being nice to everybody. Yeah. Start giving money to the homeless. Like, we do some good stuff. Let's just be honest. So yeah, so you like, God, where's mine? And you start being envy. But that next level faith will tell you to not envy other people's blessing, because your blessing can still come on its way. Blessing. So you can easily tell people congratulations on a wedding, even though you waiting to get married. You can still congratulate people. You can still congratulate people on a wedding even though you're waiting to be married. You can still congratulate people on having a baby even though you're waiting for Jesus to bless you with that baby. You can still congratulate people on that promotion even though you feel like my promotion should have came months ago. You can still congratulate people and say, I'm rooting for you. I'm happy for you. I'm excited about what God is doing. If he'll do it for you, he'll do it for me. That's right. And he on his way. That's right. When God starts blessing people around your inner circle, you be like, okay, my turn coming up shortly. Man, it's not like duck, duck, goose when he just duck, duck. I'm going to get picked at some point, God. I know. And it gives you that confidence to know that Jesus is on his way. When you see him blessing people around you. This woman showed us how faith works on a new level. She showed us how faith works when you have it anchored in God and not man. She had that faith on a new level. And I encourage you all this month to really focus on that, having faith on a new level. Leveling up in your faith is going to require you to anchor it in God and not man. It's going to require you to not let the outside voices become louder than the inner voice. And it's going to require you to celebrate. And that's the big thing. I want us to start celebrating other people's blessings. Yeah. All right. That's right. Because that really speaks highly of your faith. That's right. When you just not jealous all the time, when you envy other people and what God is doing in their life, let me tell you, if you're upset about what God is doing in somebody else's life, there's a good chance you're not going to get your blessing. Because you can't even root for God's people. Yeah, we are his people. And how you going to get upset God making a way for somebody else? When you feel like you've been trying to, when he just let you down. He didn't let you down. He on his way. It's all about timing. Jesus could have easily ran to the daughter or not even tripped off the woman. But no, he took time to acknowledge the woman, what she did, and said, your faith has made you well. Now go in peace. And then later on, he said, now let me keep doing my thing. And he healed Jairus' daughter. That's that next level faith. That's faith on a new level right there. And I pray that this message really helped you. And I love y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you.